Hi there, I'm Andy Mac from AKAI Pro, and I'm down here with Guitarcenter, and we're going to be checking out the MPC Live 3. MPC Live 3 really takes the standalone experience to a whole new level. We've added our brand new MPCe Expressive pads, which allow you to morph and glide between samples, where we've added 4 quadrants per pad, which you can actually even use for adding samples, which turns 16 pads into 64. We've added a brand new step sequencer, which is perfect for everything from electronic music to doing hip hop and trap beats. We've added a built-in microphone so you can now capture your vocals, to sampling, to field recording directly in the MPC with the new microphone. We've also added combo XLR and line level jacks so you can now capture your vocals instantly using everything from a condenser to a dynamic microphone. We've also added some amazing enhancements with MPC Live 3, giving you some compelling features such as clip launching, so you can now create live performances to creating different types of takes when you're making your beats or your live productions. And we've also added a pro reverb that gives you the most incredible quality, which you can use for your vocals through to instruments, along with a visual EQ, which allows you to take the mixing experience to a whole new level. At the heart of the MPC Live 3 is the brand new 8-core processor and 8 gigabytes of RAM that really allows us to push the boundaries of MPC standalone. This allows us to run up to 32 plugin instances with lightning fast loading times, which really gives you the most compelling experience. We've added 16 tracks of audio recording, so combining this with the XLR microphone means that you can track out all your vocals to your favorite instruments completely standalone. With this enhanced power, it also allows us to bring in desktop pro quality stem separation, which is one of the most compelling features that has come to the MPC platform. But now you have high quality stem separation. Along with pro stems, we've added super time stretching, which is a very high quality algorithm that allows you to manipulate your audio all in real time. So let's take a closer look at some of these compelling features on the MPC Live 3. If there's a specific feature you want to check out, then check out the chapters in the description. Designing the MPC Live 3, we looked at all of the types of artists through to users, of the key functionality of what they were looking for and what the next MPC would be. One of the most amazing things that we were seeing with MPC was it was finding its way onto the stage. People were using it for live performance, finger drumming, everyone from the likes of Fred Again, Machine Gun Kelly, to artists like Kenya Grace, who were using this at Glastonbury to perform with the pads and to trigger their vocals all in real time. So with all of these new features that we've added, everything from the expressive pads, touch strip, to the step sequencer, it really allows them to enhance their live performances even further. So the first feature I want to show you is the MPCe Expressive pads. Now, pads have been around for a long time. They've gone from standard pads to RGB, but we've never had expressive pads on this level on a device before. So the MPCe pads really takes the dynamic and expression of playing beats to a whole new level. Now, first thing we're going to show you is each pad is set up into 4 quadrants, which allows me to do some of the coolest things like I'm going to show you now. So with our expressive pads, we can actually glide across the pad in an X or Y positioning. We can add pitch. We can add chops. by playing quadrants. And we can also set our pads up like a real acoustic drum kit. So an example, if you have a snare drum, when you hit the snare in the middle, you get the snare. If you hit it on the edges, you get the rim. Open hi-hats, for example, you would normally have to use 2 pads. Now we can use one single pad with open and closed. Percussion with articulations, and which is 4 toms on one single pad. So this really does enhance your performance by using less pads. So you can do cool things like this. So now that you've seen the new MPC Expressive pads, let's dive in and make a beat, and I'll show you some of the features. I'm going to start with a melodic, which I've added a filter and cutoff. So as I slide my finger on the pad, we can add expression to the loop. So we're going to put that down as an idea. I'm going to start with 4 bars. So let's start the sequencer. So now that we've got our loop at the beginning, we're going to add a kick and snare over the top. So let's lay that down. Now that we've got our loop and our kick and snare, let's lay down our hi-hats, but I'm going to be using the articulations on each of the quadrants on my hi-hat. Let's lay this down. So with the Expressive pad, you can see how fast it is to add movement over your beats. So what I'm going to do now, I've got different pads set up with, again, different articulations using classic percussion through to toms, cowbells, through to little vocal chops. And I'm going to now add these over the beat. And then we're going to go into some of the plug-in instruments and we're going to add some melody over the top. So let's start off with some of our percussion. So now that we've got our drums laid out, let's lay down our bass line. So I'm going to use like a synth bass line on this. And one of the expansions that come with this is from F9. So it's got some real kind of iconic vintage synth basses. One of these I absolutely adore, which is called the Thrilled, which is... And that's going to fit really nice over this beat. So let's just play it through. We'll find our pocket and then we'll commit and record that down. Once you've played your melodies, we can go to the arrangement view. We can just double click and then we can see all of our notes. So if there's anything you want to edit, you can simply select the notes and then you can transpose them up and down, move them off the grid if you want things to be unquantized as well. So it's super easy to edit using MPC Live 3. So now that we got our foundation, we've got our drums, bass, let's start adding some melodies using some of the plugin instruments. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can now run up to 32 plugin instances fully standalone, which really does give you so much power for your music production. So let's dive straight in and start adding some melodies over the top. So to load a plugin, I'm just going to go to New, go to Plugins, and you can see the speed that Analog Dreams has loaded instantly, and we can browse our presets at lightning fast speeds. So I'm going to go into my synths, and I'm going to look for a preset that's going to kind of fit nicely over the top. And the great thing about just making tracks is it's the experimental part of the process, finding something that really does fit inside that pocket. So let's try this sound. And I can also use my cue links here. We've got 4 cue links across 4 banks. So I can use my 4 cue links to control the sound. So as an example, we can open and close the filters, add effects, which all adds to the creative process when you're playing with instruments. So let's play some melodies and find something that's going to fit over the top of this. If I still want to use that plugin, we can use our duplicate button. And then what it will do, it will create me a brand new instance of that plugin. And now I can just go back in and pick another preset. So let's lay this down. So now I'm going to load up another plugin, and this time I'm going to use something that's going to give us some kind of like saturated lead melody over the top. Now we're going to go through our plugins. And again, I can go through all of these different presets at lightning fast speed. So for this next part, I'm adding like a kind of saturated melody over the top called Chordless. So I'm going to finish off the beat now, add in some final effects, but I'm also going to use the step sequencer to add some additional hi-hats over our beat. And this means using the new step sequencer, I can add everything from rolls through to changing the pitch of my hi-hats just by adding the notes. Now, this is so easy because I can just hit the steps and implement the notes. And we could do everything from pitching our hi-hats to adding rolls per step. So example, I can take out my hats just by doing this. Now to add hats, I just punch them in to the function buttons. Now, if I want to add rolls to those hats, we can go into step edit. And now you can see a white light. And this represents the hi-hat steps. So I'm going to add ratchet. I'm going to add ratchet to those. And now if you listen back to the hi-hats, they've now got rolls added. So now that we've added rolls to the hi-hats on the step sequencer, we might want to change the pitch. So again, I can just glide straight to the step. And this time I use my modifier so I can add pitch. So we can go, okay, let's change pitch here. I go up, down. And again, I'm just adding different pitches. Listen back. And that workflow is very, very modern, using a step sequencer to create all your hi-hat movements. So let's add some scratches and stuff over the top and we'll just finish our beat. But what I'm going to do once we've finished, I'm actually going to use the step sequencer function buttons to add real-time effects over this beat to take it to a whole new level. So now that we've finished our beat, I'm going to come out of our step sequence mode and I'm going to go into pad grid. Now what pad grid does, it allows me to assign effects that I can turn on and off using these function buttons. This really gives you so much creative freedom once you finish your beat to try different ideas. Now, this particular button, I'm using it to mute my drums. And these ones I've got assigned to flex beat, stutter, and like lo-fi sounds. And take a listen of what you can do next. So now let's blend all this with a vocal, and I'm going to finish this off with the touch strip. So if you want to learn more about the MPC Live 3, head over to guitarcenter.com. You can give them a call and speak to one of their expert gear advisors, or you can head into one of your local GCs and you can try it out yourself.